Good deal, man. Thanks everybody. We have Lance Moore on today, the Saints Hall of Famer, the guy, the GOAT, the man, the myth, the legend. Lance, thanks for being on, man. We really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, it's been a while. Let's
Yeah, it's been a while, man.
see you guys, and obviously we've all got new jobs these
Yeah.
days. So pretty cool to see how much has changed in a year, but you guys are still here doing your thing and kicking butt with this podcast.
Yes, sir, man. So how's that been for you? I saw that you're a certified agent now, so you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm this 2024 season is now my ninth year out, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm working on a decade since I retired, and over the course of those 9 years, one of the most important things for me, obviously, besides starting a family, getting married, is what is next for me. What's the career going to look like? And it's some guys retire and they know right away what they want to do. Some guys retire and they already have it built out what they're going to do. And I wasn't one of those guys. Like I kind of retired before I guess I was kind of mentally ready, and I definitely wasn't prepared, for a post-football career once I retired. So, it got me into the space of kind of dabbling in different things, coaching, scouting, and obviously the media, which I was with Blue Crew Media last year, and worked for WDSU in New Orleans for 21 to 4 seasons. And while the media space is fun and I enjoyed it and I feel like I was really good at it, it wasn't necessarily something that got me excited every single morning when I got up. It wasn't something that was really, really moving me. And so I had to think, what can I do that I can use my expertise as a former NFL player and somebody that's been around the league for now 20 years. How can I use that to my advantage and be able to give back to somebody, most likely the younger generation. And I've always had a great relationship with my agent and agency, which is Sports Stars. And so I talked to my wife about it, probably a year and a half ago. And I said, look, I think I want to be an agent. She's like, really? And I'm like, yes. And she's like, okay, well, what does that mean? And even I didn't know what all I had to do to become an agent at that point. But I got on the NFLPA website, started doing my research, and you nowadays either have to have a postgraduate degree or 7 years of experience in the NFL, which obviously I did. I played 11 years, and that in essence makes you a contract expert, because you will have hit free agency multiple times. So being a player, you help as far as like the negotiations goes. Now, I wasn't actively in negotiations as a player, but my agent said, hey, here's the offer, what do you think? And I would say yes or no, you know what I mean? So man, so it's
that's awesome, man.
You sign up, you have to go through a seminar. There's a ton of information that you've got to study. I mean, we're talking like you have to know the CBA in and out, which is collective bargaining agreement. There's a whole bunch of amendments and different little side pieces that they send to you information-wise that you've got to be up on. You're dealing with salary cap and numbers. So there was a ton of math that's associated with it, which is really one of my strong suits. I've always been, kind of naturally gifted at mathematics. And, once it came time to take the exam last July, I'm not going to say there was more math questions than anything else, but it was up there, man. I mean, a 60 question exam, and there was at least 15 like math problems. And it's not as simple as like, here's the numbers, break it down for us. It's like, give you situations, and you've got to analyze what's going on within that situation and then do the math to make the numbers work. And I totally understand the reason why a lot of people fail that exam. So anyways, I passed the exam, or I take the exam in July, and then we didn't get our results until October. So it's like, and during this time, I've been talking to my former agent, Dave, Dave Butts, and kind of going through like a plan, like what is this going to look like? Am I going to work with you? Am I going to work, for you? I mean, I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, like, let's let this process play out. And in the meantime, like, I'll call a couple guys and you can just kind of be on the phone. You can't say anything. Like, you're not certified. So you can't talk to these guys. So I just kind of was just continuing to do my research as far as, being the best agent I could be, and still continuing to learn. Then come October, when I got the notification that I had passed the exam and I needed to, do a couple more steps before I, got my certification. Obviously paying the agent fees, as well as securing liability insurance, which is another thing that I didn't know ahead of time. So it's not a cheap thing either.
Yeah.
So I got my certification in kind of mid to late October, and hit the ground running. He's like, hey, here's 3 or 4 guys, call them. And then like at that point, I was kind of like, oh, like this is cold sales. I mean,
I'm in it now. Yeah, I'm in it.
It's literally like, here's a phone number.
Water.
Call this guy, text this guy, DM this guy on social media, see if you can get in touch with him. And I had listened to enough calls with him to kind of start to kind of develop, not necessarily my pitch, because it's not a pitch, but develop my, I guess, kind of my mode of communicating and really trying to connect with guys. Because, I mean, that's what it is. It's a people business, right? Like you want to, as a football player, you want to be or surround yourself with people that you have a certain level of trust and rapport with. And that's not something that can be manufactured. So a big piece of the conversation that I have with the guys is obviously leaning into my experience as a player. And all of these guys are going to go through things that I have already gone through. It's one of the most important things for me in this position is the mentorship piece. Being able to be a guy that somebody can come to and talk to about anything on the field, off the field, career-wise, post-career. I mean, you name family issues. I mean, all those things that, current guys can and will go through. I've been through them. And if I have not, I bet you I know somebody who has.
100%.
And that's something that, I'm really, really passionate about, is just trying to help these guys navigate their careers in the most smooth and easy way possible. Because we know everything they do on the field is anything but easy. So if I can be an outlet or an ally off the field and making their lives easier, then that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
And I bet as a player, it's so much more approachable to come to somebody like you to trust, because it's like you said, you've been through that. So they can, you've been in their shoes before, and it's not just some other guy just saying, hey, I know what you're dealing with. It's like, no, I actually dealt with what you're dealing with, man. Like I was in that film room. I was in the cold tub, hot tub, like all that stuff, which is like, and then you add family to that. Like you said, I feel like a lot of people don't realize that guys are like, these guys are celebrities and football players and whatnot, but they have other lives. So it's like balancing.
Look, man, I mean, you guys play ball. Like we are football players, and that's how a lot of people associate us. But we're humans first.
100%.
Go through the same types of life issues as everybody else does, except for, hey, we get to play football on TV every week. That's kind of what separates us. But you mentioned like a guy being able to come to me and maybe not feel as comfortable going to somebody else. Like a perfect example of that is I signed a corner last year from Fresno State named Carlton Johnson. He ended up signing as a free agent with the Seattle Seahawks. But Alton and I were at the Senior Bowl this past spring watching film. Yeah. Like they had a practice. They give the guys their practice on the iPads. And that night we're in the hotel lobby, literally sitting down watching film, watching one-on-ones. And I'm talking to him about receiver technique and concepts and routes. And like, I can do that, right? Like there's not a lot of former players who are now agents, and definitely not a lot of current agents that can talk ball. That's a whole different level of agent. Like, obviously the most important thing is getting our guys in the best possible position to succeed and, making them as much money or helping them make as much money as possible. But if I can add anything else to that, on the football side, I absolutely will. And that's
100%.
a great kind of
It's a big
thing.
advantage for you.
Well, it is
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And I'd be foolish to think that I can take an exam and go through a seminar and then all of a sudden be the greatest agent ever. So
Yeah.
I've kind of jumped along with my former agent, and we're
Yeah.
partners. So the two guys that we represent together. And I'm just trying to learn the trade as best possible and get some experience in it before I do go out there by myself and start representing guys alone. I'll still most likely be under the Sports Stars umbrella, but at this point, I'm trying to learn as much as I can, and talking to teams, talking to scouts, talking to general managers,
Yeah.
and trying to become the best possible agent that I can be.
Are you guys allowed to do college players with NIL, or is that like a whole different animal?
Yeah, so there are no rules. I'm sure you guys have kind of felt that a little bit. So I take that back. There's one rule, basically. We can talk to any player at any time. High school, college, doesn't matter. Now, the NFL gets a little bit different. If a guy's currently represented, I can't reach out to them. Until a certain point right before they're approaching free agency. They don't want agents poaching other agents' guys, which I get. But as far as the NIL space goes, it's literally the Wild Wild West, and it's a good and a bad thing. It's a good thing because, as college football players, you're making a ton of money for the university, and you forever and ever, like back in my day, couldn't see $1 of that. And now the universities having to allow their players to get paid. And a lot of universities are paying players, right? The bigger schools have their school collectives that are paying players, which is great. I still don't think it's enough. And I honestly, I don't have like the playbook to, kind of bring it in a little bit so that there's some kind of parameters. But the bad thing for me is I guess without sugarcoating it, other agents are buying players. Other agencies are literally buying players, and then they're labeling it NIL. And
but then transitioning them to the league, right? And keeping them
So yes, that happens for sure. And you can do an NIL deal with any college player that you want. The only rule that we have as agents is that there can be no precursor or association with representation with an NIL deal. They have to be separate. Like I can't say, well, I got $100,000 NIL deal if you sign with me to represent you when you go to the NFL.
So it can't be contingent.
You can lose your certification for that.
It's like,
that's what I thought. Okay.
Like
a player doesn't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'll take that $100,000 and then I'm gonna go sign with somebody else, right? Because there's nothing that you can do to hold them to any such agreement because they're illegal. But I think that's one piece of the puzzle. But the other piece, the one that I'm finding, and the one that's really, really difficult, is a lot of the big time guys, first, second round picks, their agents or agencies are just offering them money and saying, if anybody ever asks about this, it's an NIL deal. And there's really nothing that anybody can do to figure out what exactly that means.
Yeah.
So crazy, man.
Because it's not on paper. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Here's what we've got for you.
Yeah.
Let's make it work. And it's frowned upon and it's illegal. But there's really no way to know exactly what deal was struck or it's tough, man, because there are a lot of people doing things the right way.
Yeah.
And when you've got some that are kind of circumnavigating the landscape and the rules, it makes it tougher on everybody else, especially the guys that are doing it ethically. And it's different for sure. I'm learning that you can't win all the battles. And individuals like my partner and I, like there's 10 agents at the agency, but we have no funding. Like we're not run by some big corporation or venture capital money. Like Sports Stars is essentially a name, and we're all 10 independent contractors within that umbrella. So if we are representing guys, we personally are the ones who are paying for the training.
Yeah, you're invested. Yeah.
And the rental cars and their hotels. Like it's almost not fair, but it is what it is, right? Like,
Yeah.
That's kind of
it's an investment. Yeah.
And we are literally, I mean, that's one of the things I tell the guys in the presentation. Like, not only are we invested in you and your career, but we are literally financially invested in your, like it's
100%, man.
We're cutting those checks, and right, like we're sending them to wherever they want to go, but we feel like Exos is the best of the best. We'll send you to Exos. We know it's one of the most expensive places for guys to train, but we get great results. And we know that guys have living expenses and things that they have. Some of them have kids. Some of them have rent at their college apartments. Like, we're not giving them any money. Like, we work on a stipend for our guys. Like, we're not going to be like that type of agency that's like, oh no, we can't do that. Like, it's always been legal for you to give a player a stipend, right?
Yeah.
But it's always been illegal for somebody to say, here's money, sign with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's
100%.
It's challenging, but I'm not scared or running away from it. I mean, like I'm running face first into it. Here, I got a list of my guys that I've already been recruiting for this year. You can't really see.
Man.
There's a bunch of them on there, and
we'll clip that. Yeah, we'll clip that.
we're like, it's great to have guys in the league and rookies, and you keep in touch with them. But it's like we're on to 2025 now. Like, we're big time into the recruiting season, and kind of working on hopefully our client list that will start to round out. I mean, I'm going to Lexington, Kentucky on Sunday to have a meeting with a guy that's trying to sign with an agent or an agency before the season starts, which is
there you go.
4 weeks. You know what I mean? So it's ramping up, and I'm loving it. Like it's a different side of the game.
Yeah,
100%.
But all in all, like this, I feel like it's like the perfect fit for me, and I'm gonna be
exciting.
In this space as I was in football, and doing everything that I can to be the best possible agent that I can be. I don't want to just do it just to do it, or to say like, yeah, I'm an agent and I represent guys. I'm trying to be the freaking best. Like that's
100%. Like the Rock on Ballers, man.
Yeah. Everybody's like, oh man, you watch Ballers? Like, is that how it is? And I'm like, well, one, I didn't watch Ballers. I lived it. Two, I was a player, and now I'm on the other side, so I'm like doubly living it. So I still to this day haven't watched Ballers, and I've heard it's kind of crazy. So I don't know that it's exactly like that, but
I like to think it is. It makes me
entertainment purposes. In the way of a great story.
I've never seen Ballers. Is that like, what is it like? Just like Entourage, but sports kind of?
Pretty much. Like the Rock is like a part of like an agency, and like gets these big players and whatnot, and then taking them on yachts and stuff. And they're just
he's a former player.
He's a former player, so it's like he's a former player in the show, but then he's got like a very talented athlete or whatever, but he's like a headache, like it's like always doing some dumbass stuff off the field or whatever. Yeah, and then he's got like some solid guys. It's just like it's a good show. I mean, it's you should watch it.
You're gonna have to watch it and let us know how real it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, it's not probably the same for everybody, but I guarantee a lot of the stuff that's on that show either is or has happened for sure.
Oh, 100%. 100%. There's like a guy, and he was like telling him, he's like, dude, you got to stop spending this money, like buying a bunch of cars and stuff. And like, yeah, he signed like a $40 million contract, but he was like, you got to stop, man. Like bottle service, like every weekend, like stuff like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And he's just like, man, I got it. And it's like, not for everybody. Like, keep spending it like this. But that's crazy.
I mean, even still to this day, that's the thing a lot of guys don't understand is they get this money, and now it's great money, especially in 2024 and beyond. There's a lot of money out there to be made, but they think that it's going to last forever, and that's just it.
Not true. What about Jordan Love's contract? What do you think about that? That was massive.
Look, people are kind of suspect of it, and we got some visitors real quick. Come here.
That's all good. Let's meet the fam, man.
Yeah, okay, they want to come in and say daddy. But
they don't want to get on the camera.
That's right. Wake her up. It's time for her to get up and make you guys breakfast. I'll be out in a second.
Oh man, the kids are saying let's cut it off.
No, good. I don't even know where I was. Where was I?
We were talking about
J Love.
Oh, J Love, Jordan Love, the big old contract.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's you. People are worried about him being like basically a 1-year starter, but it's not like he's a rookie that played 1 year.
Yeah.
He's a guy that's been around a number of years as a backup, was Aaron Rodgers' backup, and they know what they're doing in Green Bay. Like that's not one of those organizations that you have to worry about, making those like rash decisions. Like they don't do that. They do their research. They develop the players that they draft. Dude's a first-round draft pick, like a top 5 draft pick. So like it's not like he's some slouch. And I think everybody in that building would say he's been nothing but a pro the entire time. He's continued to improve every single year. And while it's unfortunate for some guys that have to start for 4 or 5 years before they get the deal, he only had to start one. But again, it's not like he came after his rookie year. Like he's a guy that's been around for a minute now, and based on how he played last year, he earned that money.
Oh, he was a dog last year.
Yeah, I think I agree. He earned it, and it's funny that you're saying that, though, because our buddy just got drafted to the Packers this past year, Michael, the quarterback from Tulane, and he's talked about how like J Love's just been like grinding and just like a really good mentor and whatnot. So definitely checks out. Valid.
It's a perfect situation for him because it goes, you have Favre with Rodgers as the backup. Rodgers takes over, has this career. Then you have Jordan Love as the backup. Now Jordan Love's going to have this career. Michael Pratt is the backup. So, hey, Michael Pratt might be the next Aaron Rodgers.
History repeats itself, huh?
You never know.
Yeah, it's just crazy to see like the type of money, like you're saying, like 2024 and on and whatnot. It's like I just feel like especially in the quarterback market, it's jumped like drastically. I mean, like rightfully so, but it's been crazy. Like I think Kirk Cousins got a pretty big deal too, if I'm not mistaken, huh?
Huge.
Like he got a bag. But
salary cap just keeps growing, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it's like $50 million a year. Well, I mean, look, they're not. I don't see them changing roster sizes anytime soon. So as long as the salary cap continues to go up, which other than 2021, which was the year after COVID, it's gone up every single year. Yeah. It's going to continue to go up every year. Yeah. TV money is going up. The gambling money is going up. So I don't think we're 10 years, maybe 10 years away from quarterbacks making $100 million a year. That's a realistic thing.
That'd be wild.
I mean, while it may seem astronomical and crazy, why? Should the owners keep all the money and only give the players 20%? Like the NFLPA has fought so hard to get it as close to 50-50 for players and ownership, which even for me is kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
People buying tickets to come watch the players, and all 1,600 of the players in the NFL only get half of that piece.
That's wild.
Then the 32 owners or ownership groups get the other half.
It's like that. It's like the NIL. It's like the NIL argument, It's like these players are putting on for the university and making all this money, like, especially like the big colleges, and it's like now they're just getting paid, but it's probably a fraction of the amount of what they're bringing in revenue stream.
So I mean, because I know there's going to be blowback. Oh my gosh, why is this guy making $80 million a year? That's crazy. But like, what?
Yeah, it's really. I mean, the Cowboys were just valued at what, $10 billion? $10
billion.
Yeah, $10 billion.
So there's revenue sharing within the league. So that has nothing to do with valuation. That has to do with dollars, right? Yeah. Every single team in the NFL this last couple of months got a check for $410 million. $410 million.
Jeez.
Salary cap is what? 255, right?
Jeez.
So
goodness.
It's insane.
That's so shocking to me.
Yeah,
because I always thought that I always knew that the owners like got money, but I always thought that their like main income would be when they sold teams, like just like their return on investment. Like, I bought
this is the biggest sporting organization in the world. The TV money in 2023 alone, just TV money, was $12 billion last year.
Jeez.
Jesus.
1 year.
Yeah, that's insane.
So it's like most of them have successful businesses outside of football, right?
Yeah.
That's how they got the money to be able to buy teams. So
Yeah.
they're not running NFL organizations hoping that they make money, even
Yeah,
though
they're-
they know that every single year they're going to make money. I mean, that's
Mhm.
just like the NFL can do no wrong. Like the football in this country, especially, is so big that nothing will ever impact it. I mean, there's been a number of different things that could have impacted the National Football League over the years, and people
Just kept,
die for football, man. Like
yeah.
that's just what it is in this country. And as great as some of the other leagues are, NBA, obviously, especially just coming off the Olympics, Major
Mhm.
League Baseball, especially during playoff time. I mean, like, yeah, they're great, but you can put all of them together and they're still not touching football. That's just
100%.
look at the
100%.
ratings every single year of what numbers the other sports are doing compared to football. Like you can look at like the Olympic gold medal game would probably be like a regular Sunday night football game in the NFL.
Yeah.
I bet. Maybe even less because of the time. Yeah, I bet it's probably even less because of the time difference in Paris and whatnot this year. And
Yeah,
think
but
this
I
is-
mean, even still, I mean, like it's just
That's just like remarkable.
it's
Even
a fraction. Yeah, it's crazy. It's a fraction that it's an Olympic sport, and it's like the best of the best doing it. Like probably one of the best teams ever to step on a court, and it's like it's a fraction. That's a Thursday night football game. Like it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's wild. But I wanted to ask you this because I did see from the Saints Instagram they posted a picture and you were out there at practice the other day. Saw you sporting your Blue Oak barbecue shirt, which was cool.
Yeah.
Your NOLA shirt. But where do you see the Saints? I'm a huge Saints fan. I know we went over this. But Ethan's a Giants fan. He sucks, and they're gonna be terrible. But Malik Neighbors is a bright spot. But where do you see the Saints this year? I mean, you saw it firsthand in practice. Like, tell me what you're thinking a little bit.
Well, I mean, it was great to get out there to camp there in Irvine.
Yeah.
Which is, a little more than an hour north of me here in San Diego. So I made the drive up on Tuesday, and there's a group chat of about 12 of us from the Super Bowl team. And we talk everything. I mean, we talk about everything and anything that you can think of. And so a group of us were like, hey, let's try to get out there for when the Saints are practicing against the 49ers. Unfortunately, those practices got called off because both teams were banged up. But it was great to get out there, man, and just be around it for a day and see the competition and see some of the new players there that we've gotten. And I don't know what they're going to look like. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many guys injured when I was at the practice. I was just kind of like, dang, this is like half the defense is out there. We got receivers that are hurt, running backs that are out. I can't, from the one practice that I saw, I can't really tell you how good I think we're going to be. I do think that we'll be better than last year. I do think that we have the talent and the coaching to be successful. It's just a matter of being able to go out there and handle your business, but you can't handle your business if half the team is hurt. So
100%.
Hopefully those guys that are banged up are going to get back soon. I don't know, if they've come out and said which guys will or will not play this weekend, but we've only got a couple weeks to get right. As everybody knows, like you don't want to be playing meaningless football toward the end of the season. So the best way to eliminate that from happening is to be successful early in the season.
Yeah, you got to win early. You got to start fast.
I think we've got to start fast. I mean, that's always the goal every single year. But I do think that, if this team wants to be successful, we got to get out to a good start. And it's definitely not going to be easy because that schedule is brutal early.
Yeah, that thing is pretty tough. That's what I was wanting to see what you thought early on. And I know a lot of Saints fans are pretty tough on Derek Carr, but I want to see your opinions. I mean, you're a receiver. You've worked with quarterbacks throughout your career. Obviously, one of the greatest, probably the greatest, in my opinion, Drew Brees. But what do you think about Carr's progression from the?
Well, I mean, it's gonna be new for him, obviously, as it is for all the offense. Clint Kubiak coming in, but I do think that this offense is one that I think he could be really, really successful in. You look at the San Francisco 49ers offense and how Brock Purdy has kind of led them in that offense and the things that he's asked to do. I think Derek could be great at all those things. I think it's we didn't get to see the best of Derek Carr for a number of different reasons last year, but I truly believe that we'll see a better Derek this year because I think the offensive line will be better. That was a major factor last year.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys watched it a little bit more closely than even I did. If you can't protect the guy, there's no way he can be good for you.
Yeah, 100%.
Like if you're taking 3-step drops and getting hit, that's problematic. Like that should not happen.
It was like Ethan. It was like Ethan was a center out there or something. You know?
Oh, come on. Yeah, probably. No, boy's good though.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just one guy, right?
Yeah.
It's the whole unit and the cohesiveness and being able to communicate and being able to understand your assignment each and every time and your adjustments and obviously quarterback and offensive line being on the same page all the time. And offensive coordinator. I mean, all those things will factor in. I do think they'll be better this year. Now, what's going to happen with Trevor Penning, I'm not really sure. I've heard he's been up and down in camp. If he's going to be the right tackle,
no, please no.
Please no. But hopefully, they figure out, that side and, they can protect him better so we can see a lot better version of Derek. Because I look, he's had success in the league, right? He's been really good. He's been to a Pro Bowl. So we need to see that Derek, and in order to see that Derek, we've got to be able to protect him. And I also think we got to be able to run the ball better too.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. It starts up front, like you said, and Penning had an awful first game in the preseason, so I guess we'll see this week, like you said. But it wasn't great. There's a lot of buzz around Spencer Rattler. How did he look out there when you were watching practice? Did you ever get to watch him for a little bit?
Oh yeah. No, you watch him, and the ball coming off his hand just looks a little different. And I mean that in the best possible way. Like that thing really jumps out of his hand, and there's no way that anybody could watch him and not think that he's got exceptional arm talent. Now, that's only a piece to the puzzle, right? How fast can he break down a defense? How fast can he get the ball out when there's somebody barreling down on him? How does he do with adjustments to the defense? How does he do with the coaching? How does he do with understanding the offense and commanding the huddle? Like there's a lot of different factors that are in addition to arm strength or arm talent. So it'll be interesting to see, these next couple of weeks how well he does. I'd love to see him in there with the first group. Put him in there with the first group. Let him get some reps with the starting offensive line, the starting receivers and running backs and tight ends, and really see how it looks, because it's one thing to get a guy out there and lead a game-winning drive in the fourth quarter when there's all backups, and most of these guys probably aren't even going to be around after the next couple of weeks anyway, right? It's still impressive, right, because he'd never done it before, right? This is his first NFL game, but you want to see him in there with the varsity, the starters, the live bullets out there.
Bullets are flying.
And I would imagine we'll see it maybe this week, if not this week, hopefully next week. But it's definitely a reason to be encouraged because we haven't seen a guy like this around here for a long time as far as what he's going to do.
Yeah, he's like another one of those guys where it's kind of, you got to give him credit for where he's at because he had a very up and down college career where we played Oklahoma the year Hurricane Ida came through, and he was a Heisman favorite that year. And then
he got benched.
James ended up taking over a spot, who also ended up winning a Heisman the next year. So the fact that he was able to go up and down and then go to South Carolina, get drafted, and start impressing some people with the Saints, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean that's life. I think you everybody goes through different things, different challenges, and how you navigate those and kind of work your way through is going to be what kind of defines you in the end. And whether he was the number 1 overall pick like he was supposed to be before he got his job taken, or a fourth round pick this year, or was he a 5th round pick?
Fifth. He was a 5th.
Yeah. Or a 5th round pick.
Yep.
You're in the place that ultimately you wanted to be anyway, and that's the NFL. Yeah. So what do you do once you get there? That's the thing that's the most important. Like they're all there for a reason. Everybody thinks that, or everybody in that organization thinks that you're an NFL player. Okay. Doesn't matter if you're from Tulane or you're from Oklahoma, South Carolina, or if you're from Millsaps College in Jackson, Mississippi, a D3 school.
Yeah, if you can ball, you can ball.
Everybody's in the same spot. And the most important thing is what you do once you get there.
100%. 100%. That's a good point. And I think that's a lot of Saints fans are seeing that now and saying, hey, we think this guy's going to be the future. But I'm not ready to give up personally. I'm not ready to give up on Carr yet. So I think we need to see Carr throughout the first half of the season. And I think, like what you said, I think he's going to progress. And I think with this new offense, it's going to be, it's going to click. And the chemistry matters, man. Like, you know how that is. Like, chemistry is a huge part of it. Like, we witnessed it in our bowl game we played. And we had a bunch of guys sitting out and transferring and whatnot. And like, we weren't the same team because chemistry matters. Like, you go through a whole season, off season training with the guys and like building relationships. But yeah, it's a really good point. And then, like we said, we don't want to take up all your time. We've been talking. It's been great, but way too early Super Bowl prediction. Who's your way too early? I hate to throw this on you, like as a question, but
yeah, I mean, you'd be foolish not to. I mean, it's Kansas City's just so good, man.
Yeah.
Like, as long as they have Patrick Mahomes, like, I'd love to see somebody else. I'd love to see Buffalo finally, like,
Me too.
get over that hurdle and
Yeah.
make it to the Super Bowl and even win the Super Bowl, right? Like, I just think Kansas City is the best team. I think Cincinnati will be good again, but Cincinnati's in a gauntlet of a division, right? Like, Baltimore is going to be good. Cleveland is going to be good.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, we don't really know where they are as far as the quarterback goes, but if you look at the rest of that roster now, they got some guys. Especially if they make this Brandon Ayuk trade, they get another receiver over there. I mean, like, so I don't really know what's going to end up happening with Cincinnati. It could be like, like a war of attrition in that division. And I still kind of think Baltimore is a better team than Cincinnati. I think Joe Burrow is built a little bit better as far as the playoffs go. But Lamar can change a game in a single play with his legs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like I can't pick somebody other than Kansas City. I mean, I do think there are other teams in the AFC that'll be good, but I just think as long as Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce are there, that team is going to have a chance. And that defense, man, like, they were the MVP of the season last year.
Yeah.
The Kansas City couldn't get right early in the year, and that defense just shut people down. I mean, that's what they did. And then the NFC, I mean, obviously there's the 49ers, the Eagles. I think those are probably the two best teams going into the season. I'm not a fan of the 49ers, like, all the way going back to 2011 when we lost to them in the playoffs. Like, I just can't stand them.
Who was it that caught the touchdown? It was
Vernon Davis.
Vernon Davis. Gosh. I remember, Gosh.
So I'm going to go with the Eagles. I'm going to go with Kansas City, Philly. That's kind of what I'm thinking. It's definitely not the New York Giants, so we can.
I'm
like, please.
I can't see the Philly fans are atrocious. For any Philly fans that are listening, I hate you. I mean, no, it's a respectful thing. I could see where your pick's at. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you would. You would.
I would. But I don't.
So Kansas City and the Eagles. Okay, I like that pick. Yeah. I like it. I'll go lock it in as a future.
All right. Hey man, look. Don't sleep on my Lions, man. Don't sleep.
I love it.
Don't
Campbell,
sleep on
man. I love Campbell.
They got so close last year. If they could have just finished the job, but it's hard to do it again. Like,
it is hard.
It's hard to repeat and win it, but it's even harder to, like, get back.
Yeah.
2 years in a row. So that's kind of why I'm not leaning 49ers. And even the Lions, like, getting to the NFC Championship game, like, that's not going to be easy, especially with Green Bay being better this year. I think Chicago, while I don't know that they're ready, they're definitely not going to be a slouch this year, at least offensively. I mean, their defense was good last year too. So, it's super hard to make these predictions, especially without seeing a single game. But I'll stick with those, Philly and KC.
100%, man. Well, we appreciate your time, man. We really enjoyed talking to you and catching up, man. We're excited for your career and excited that you're so excited about it. And it's great because, like you said, we've lived it and we've seen guys go to the next level. So that's great that you found something that you love, man. It's something a lot of people wish that they had. But yeah, man, just thank you again, and hope to run it back soon, man. We really appreciate you.
Sounds good, man. Thank
Yes,
you guys
sir.
for having
Tell the kids next time to come on the stream, man.
me.
Don't be afraid.
They got camera shy, which is usually not a thing.
Well, next time we'll get them on. We'll do a little side interview with the kids.
Sounds good.
All right, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thanks, fellas. Take care.
Yes, sir. You too.